Hello!
Hi guys, it is I've already forgotten what date it is.
It doesn't
23rd?
matter what day it is. I know what day it is. It's back on the sofa day.
It is back on the sofa! Yeah.
It is back on the sofa day. It is the 23rd.
23rd of April. That makes it day 34 of lockdown. But we are back in the living room!
Yes.
And I'm so celebrating and so happy about this that I'm
nice-
wearing a bra.
It's a nice angle. It's well lit. We've got a sofa backdrop. We're in a more comfortable position.
Oh man, this is
like I'm kind of
luxurious.
slumped. We've been filming the last few of these in the front bedroom where we've taken all the furniture out to make room for a poorly cat. That's a quick recap if you've not been paying attention. But my friend Phil Cooper said that it made us look like we were filming some sort of hostage plea video.
Oh, that was actually what I couldn't remember what that other comment was, but it said it does have an ISIS hostage video vibe.
Yeah, it did look a bit like we were sort of, so I'd like to think somewhere on the internet there are conspiracy theorists counting the number of blinks we're doing and trying to figure out the Morse code. Like, are they asking for help? They keep referencing this cat. I think the cat is in charge now.
The cat is in charge now.
I mean, that is basically the power structure.
Yeah.
I used to have a really comfortable fleece. I don't anymore, but the cat has something nice to lie on.
She likes that fleece.
It is, yeah.
You made a mistake of leaving it in there when you left the room, and then she, out of literally the whole floor, except for where her litter tray is, the entire floor has got duvets and quilts and pillows and towels, and it's all nice and soft and cushy. She has chosen to sleep in your fleece repeatedly, and she's making a point of it. So that is now, until this is all over, a cat bed.
I can see where
and you
this
will
is
just
heading,
have to
though,
clean it when she releases it. Because
Well,
today he found a little bit of cat food in it.
I wasn't happy about that. Cat food on my fleece.
Dried
Not
cat
ideal.
food.
Better than wet cat food, I think.
Yeah, it was probably wet when it went on there, though.
Oh, I've had gravy on my fleece.
Probably not there, because the thing is, we're giving her food with gravy, and so she kind of licks all the gravy off, but I've noticed little bits of fish sort of get flicked about the place, which now makes sense as to why the wall behind where she normally eats always ends up with little bits of meat on it. And I'm like, how does this happen? Well, I've seen it happening because I've had to sort of look at her a bit more close up while she eats.
Flicks
And
the meat away and has more gravy.
Little flakes of fish just everywhere. But yeah, it was probably more moist when it landed in the fleece than it is now.
Weird, the number of dishes we give them that are like lamb and beef and chicken and fish, and they're all a sort of pinky brown colour. Every single one.
We don't, though, generally. Usually the adult cats get
and
the
little
fishy ones. That's my concession, because basically I am a bad vegan, because I went vegan and then got more pets which are carnivores, but I'm not a twat vegan who tries to make cats eat a vegan diet, because that's literally not what they should be eating. So sorry to any twat vegans out there, but you're being twats.
The cats can't make a choice.
So the thing that I try to do to sort of make myself feel slightly better is buy fish-based meals for them. Because they have a better... Well, I just don't like killing mammals.
That is true, but the broader point remains that we have in the past, or I have fed my cats a combination of lamb, beef, chicken, tuna, cod, plaice, and they all just are the same. Yeah, they all look the
pinky
brown
colour. They do. I've noticed on the side of cat food packaging though, because they'll all say like with beef or with salmon or with tuna. They all have like 4% of whatever that thing is. Like, so it'll be tuna 4%, and then it'll be one of the things on the side of this new cat food, I won't say the name because it doesn't sound particularly flattering, but they love it. They really love it. But yeah, it says with fish and fish derivatives. Now, what's a derivative of fish that wasn't originally fish?
Fish
what
poo?
Does that mean? Fish poo?
I hope not.
Ooh.
The thing is, I was really hungry the other day, and there was a tuna one, and it smelled so good. This
is how stir-crazy we have gone.
Really wanted to eat tuna cat food. Didn't eat tuna cat food. Really wanted to. Not gonna lie. Really wanted to.
What has happened to you? I thought I'd been looking after you fairly well. I didn't realise you'd lost your fucking mind.
Really
it doesn't
good,
smell really good. It smells like cat food.
Not all of them smell good. That one smelled really
Some
good.
of them smell less horrendous than others, but
the beef ones smell like tinned corned beef, which I actually quite like.
I used to quite like the smell of corned beef, actually. More
So-
than I liked corned beef. I didn't mind corned beef. I think corned beef gets a bit of a bad rap because actually corned beef in a sandwich is quite nice.
Yeah, nice bit of chunky corned beef.
Didn't like the little jelly bits on it though. The little fatty, pasty.
I think that about the dog, because we've been with the pets. We normally give them quite specific stuff, but we've kind of been in a bit of a situation of we'll take what we can get at the minute. So the dog has been having some slightly different dog foods, and she had one that came out of the tin. It looked a bit like corned beef.
Yeah, I think it's called like loaf style when it's like that. It's more of a, rather than having chunks of meat in it, it's got like a...
And it kind of had a sort of jelly ring at one end.
Yeah.
And it was reminded me a little bit of the gelatin in like a pork pie. And I wish I could ask Lucy, like, do you like that bit? Do you not like that bit? Is that your favourite bit?
Why, if she doesn't like it, you're going to have
no,
it
I'm
for
just curious. I just would like to be able to, because some people really like the jelly bit in a pork pie and other people don't.
She'd be a bad, you'd need to sort of talk to you need to talk to a pickier dog. She's a Labrador, and I don't know if you've ever had Labradors, but basically they will eat anything, which is why I'm trying to be a bit more specific with what she normally eats. So she normally has the stuff that's specifically slightly lower calories so that I can give her sort of adequate sized portions, because she doesn't know and she's just permanently hungry. So rather than give her a bit less, I'd rather give her like a whole tin and some mixer of just lower calories. So she's normally on the lean and tasty, but she's on whatever we can find at the moment. So she's probably been enjoying the variety, although some of them do look a lot less pleasant than others. Like one or two of them look quite nice. And then the loafy ones do look a bit grim. Like that doesn't look like food. Like, I don't know what, that doesn't even look like it was ever meat.
Well, the other one she's had recently looks like sort of meatballs and gravy.
Yeah, that one doesn't look too bad.
It don't look too bad, but it doesn't look as substantial a portion of the others, even though the tins are the exact same size. So I always feel a little bit...
It feels less firm and stodgy as well.
So I always feel a bit bad, like she's not getting as much dinner that day. But I know where this is going, though, because the one cat has nicked my fleece, and then another of our 4 cats... decided that he really liked my pyjama top. So
he really
his
did.
Bed for a few days.
You stole it back though.
Well, the thing is, because I know where this is heading, right? At this rate, I'll be forced to resort to either nudity or really uncomfortable clothes. And look, it's
going to be nudity.
Yeah, I don't want to worry you guys, but I like to be comfortable. I do. Yeah. So, I mean, luckily this is a waist up only vlog, but nonetheless, yeah, you have to see a lot of shoulders. It'll be pretty sexy times for you watching.
You definitely would go for nudity over. Like, you can still wear pants though. Like, there's no reason why. Like, they're not going to take all of your pants. We've only got 4 cats.
They're quite comfortable.
We've only got 4 cats though. You've got more than 4 pairs of pants.
They're quite possessive cats.
He has got more than 4 pairs of pants.
I do have more than 4 pairs of pants. I never knew that was a thing I was have to defend publicly, but it's true. I don't mean to brag, guys. Got more than 4 pairs of pants.
Some of them you really shouldn't brag about anyway. They're barely pants anymore. They're not as bad as your socks, which are
pants are in pretty good nick, I think.
Yeah, your pants are all right.
The socks are a mess, but I will defend my pants.
Okay. Yeah, the socks are absolutely inexplicable. They're not socks anymore, and I don't know at what point you just accept defeat.
And any issue, by the way, with the pants would be like
aesthetic.
Maybe like a tear in the elastic round. We're not talking staining.
No.
You know, like I wear clean pants, guys.
He does.
I wash my pants.
He does.
I don't know how it's come to this. This is what, everything going on in the world, and this is what we're discussing on the vlog.
That's sort of what's happening though, isn't it? Like, I think everything going on in the world is massive, but everybody's lives have become very small. Well, everybody who's in lockdown's lives has become very small. And I was talking about this today.
Between sort of massive world events and the tiny minutiae
and then,
of your lockdown
little things
lives.
are becoming quite big, or at least sort of quite focus your attention on little things. We were talking today, and I think it is a bit of a weird thing, because they're talking about lockdown in sort of 3-week chunks, being that we'll review it every 3 weeks. But I think we all really knew it was never likely to be only 3 weeks. But I think that's just the manageable amount that they can sort of break to you at a time. But when they first announced all the sort of financial support packages and things like that, they were talking 3 months, which I thought, okay, let's assume that roughly that's probably what we're looking at least for current estimations. So the first, we're more than 4 weeks in now, so we're day 34, so that's more than 4 weeks, not quite 5. I think tomorrow it'll be marked 5 weeks from ours, because we started on Friday the 20th, I think. But anyway, so we're sort of dealing, like, to begin with, because I looked back on some of these earlier blogs just to sort of see how the tone has changed, and it has a lot. I think in the first few days I was very anxious, and I have had anxious moments since then, but you could sort of see it in me, and our whole tone was a lot more cautious and quiet, and maybe we've just got into the swing of doing these and got a bit more used to talking to camera and things. But also I think everything was, it's all scary, but I think we were in this very uncertain stage then. And then gradually we sort of got used to the day-to-day lockdown life and got a bit more used to everything and kind of got more comfortable with it. But I think I'm having sort of waves of struggling with it. And over the last couple of days, it's just a sort of pop, it's been getting better enough to sort of relax a little bit and sort of take the foot off the pedal a little bit there and just go, I've started to creep into thinking about slightly longer term things, and then realising that everything's just got a massive question mark on it. Like, we just don't know. And then that feeling of uncertainty is starting to give me a bit of anxiety. Because there's things that we hadn't specifically planned to do, but I did plan on doing them over the next sort of year or two. And now it's sort of like, oh, well...
Like we were going to go to Chessington World of Adventure, or that sort of thing.
Were we? We can go there.
I'm just guessing.
No,
was that the sort of thing you meant?
Well, I was sort of thinking more in terms of career goals and life goals and that sort of stuff. But we can go to Chessington when all of this is over.
You mean like get a microwave for work so you can...
Well, actually, I was making some big long-term plans for work that have now been scuppered. But I don't even really know when I'm going to be able to go back to work, because even if we relax lockdown measures a bit, chances are that, like, leisure businesses were the first to be closed and they'll probably be the last to be opened. So I might not be able to do my normal job for a long time. And I can't imagine they're going to foot 80% of everybody's bills indefinitely. But because of my health issues, I'm not very well suited to doing many types of jobs. So I'm like, that sort of big, scary, I don't know what's going to happen. But there was sort of life stuff that I was sort of thinking that we would get around to. That then, they're sort of like, oh, well, like, do we just put a big question mark above everything and just live day to day? But at what point do you sort of go, well, we're just going to have to just either do it or not do it anyway, and that sort of stuff. And it's a bit weird, and I think it's hard to find a sort of mental coping strategy to deal with that because of the level of uncertainty. We just don't know, and you don't want to put too much time and effort into making like a plan that might not be necessary, because it might be that they sort of go, hey guys, like, we can actually relax this all quite well, and yeah, you can go back to work in June and, you know, have at it. I doubt it, but they could. But yeah, yesterday in the press conference, I think Chris Whitty, who's the science advisor rather than the medical advisor, I get them mixed up, but I think he's the science dude. Anyway, he basically said, and I think Nicola Sturgeon said in her announcement to the Scottish Parliament and the Scottish people, much the same thing, which was there will be some semblance of lockdown measures in place well beyond the end of the year. Just what exactly those measures are, we don't know yet, and that will depend on how things are going, how the sort of stats change when we relax lockdown measures. So I'm sort of assuming that one of the last things to be relaxed is going to be leisure industry businesses. And also, I want to say for the record, I'm not being like one of these fucking idiots that you're seeing that are protesting lockdown, being like, I demand the right to go back to it. If it's not safe for people to do it, I don't want to encourage people to do it. Yeah, I'm happy to take the hit on that.
Totally get it. We're just
wondering
about the future,
how life's going to work, and what we do with that. And do I need to be making other plans, and do I need to be putting things in motion now for those other plans? And we just don't know. And I struggle with I like a plan.
It's hard to not.
If I've got a plan, I can follow the plan.
And like, I work, I'm a stand-up comedian, but I also have a part-time job, and now I don't know when. Even when lockdown ends, when will pubs be open, and if pubs do open, will they be saying, well, there's going to be a restriction on how many people can come in at any given time? So will comedy gigs happen? You know, can they have an audience for a live thing like that? And when they do, you know, there's going to be a lot of comedians all trying to get on them. So how long until I can
And
be
how
reliably making any
receptive
money
will
from comedy?
the public be to gathering like that? Because even
Do
if they're
I-
allowed, there might be a lot of people like me who are quite reluctant to do so anyway. Just because we're allowed, that doesn't mean I necessarily want to like dive into a big crowded area.
And
Nah.
do I need to go to my bosses at my part-time job and say, you know, I need to go back full-time, which isn't something I'd ideally like to do, but also I don't know if
No,
I
it
do
was
have
all
to do
going in
that.
the right direction, wasn't it?
Well, exactly.
And then
also my
that.
bosses have always been very supportive in that regard, very flexible about working around me going and doing comedy, but they might be in a position where they've taken a financial hit with this. They've got as many staff as they need, and they can't really take me on full-time, even if I make that decision. So we just don't know how things are going to be.
No, and I think like that's a tricky thing to adjust to, because at what point do you just accept not knowing and make your best sort of plans that you can, and just I think we're just going to have to really work on being super adaptable. And yeah, I like to have a plan. I feel much more in control if I've got, even if it's a horrible plan. Like, I'd rather like, okay, so I'm definitely not going to be able to work for another 12 months. Okay, so maybe I need to find like other work, or maybe I need to get some other qualifications, that's something I can do from home. At least I could plan, but I just don't know. And that's a bit of a tricky thing to deal with. One bit of good news I did have today, though, which I was very, very grateful for. The business that I own, the building that it's in, is actually owned by our local authority. They have told us today that they will be extending us a 3-month break on our rent, which is brilliant, because we're definitely not going to be open in 3 months. Well, going back to the start of April, so April, May, June. We've already shut bookings for those. We know we're not opening for them. So the fact that we didn't have any money coming in for those months, and our biggest outgoing is our rent. So that was a massive relief.
Very hard for any business right now, trying to sustain themselves, having to pay rent on a property that they can't make any money from.
And I can't even, because this is a weird thing that I'm feeling, I don't drive. So normally I would get to and from work usually by taxi, sometimes by Lyft, very rarely by bus. And I can't, there are taxi services that are still running, but I sort of feel like I don't want to do that. I don't think that's the most wise social distancing measure thing to do, because I don't know who else has been in that taxi. Also, that taxi driver has come into contact with a lot of people. I just don't think it's wise unless it's absolutely strictly necessary. And a visit to work wouldn't be strictly necessary, but not going there. I haven't been in my workplace for ages.
Ooh,
I think the 20th. Well, I'd cleaned it very well the week before we closed, because I was disinfecting everything between games for customers. So it's very clean, I'm sure. But it's weird not being able to just pop in and check on, because for being closed, there's loads of jobs I could be doing. I could be decorating the sets and retouching things and making new props and all sorts of things, but I can't do any of that remotely. I need to be there, and I can't get there.
Stuff as well that we could have used at home, like batteries and even there are even I think some snacks that were left in there from when we were
for playtesting the new room. We bought in some snacks for our playtesters.
Done that rather than going to a shop, but we can't really justify the trip into town to go.
Thankfully, my business partner is one of my brothers, and he has had to go into town for his other job anyway. So he's looked in on the place just to make sure that sort of the place hasn't burned down or flooded. He's probably had all the snacks.
Probably had all the snacks. It's an absolute nightmare.
What a bastard!
Oh God!
He might not know where I put them though.
Oh, fine. All right. Good. Fingers crossed, guys.
There might be some very out of dates, but they were only best before. So we're talking crisps and crackers and stuff. It'll be fine.
Chocolate lasts. It just goes. When it goes
Just
white, you can still eat it, right? It's not like dog poo. Once dog poo goes white, you shouldn't eat it at all.
Ew.
Oh,
Ew.
Do you disagree?
No, I don't disagree. Oh,
it's fact. I tell you what. Someone else is worrying about business at the moment.
Yeah.
is the mayor of Las Vegas, Carolyn Goodman.
Okay.
Have you heard about this?
No, I don't think I have.
She did a television interview which has sparked controversy, and some of you may already be aware about this, but she basically was saying everything should be back open, and things should be going on, and businesses should be sorting themselves out and dealing with it themselves, and she actually said, you know, how do we know that this lockdown is helping and that more people aren't dying because of it and it's doing any good? If we're all locking down, we don't know what difference it's making or not. And she has actually offered up Las Vegas as like a control group to the American government, saying, look,
that's not the best control group to choose, though, is it?
Well, I mean, I imagine there's a lot of germs and disease.
Oh, no, but that's what I mean. It's not exactly a typical example of a cross-section of America. Fucking Vegas.
I mean, the government, I should say, the government have already turned this down.
Good.
But, I mean, imagine if you're, living there going, what?
Hang
For
on a
us
minute.
up. Don't tell us we've got to go back to work.
Yeah, because while some of the casinos and hotels are probably missing their income, everybody who works in them is probably going, no, I don't want to be in like one of the big tourist hubs of the world
that's an elected
with a bunch of drunk idiots.
I don't want to defend our government too much, but at least none of them are saying that.
They did suggest herd immunity as a strategy, though.
That's true.
So
they got all their stupidity out of the way. No, that's not true. They got some of their stupidity out of the way, and now they're doing other stupidity.
Yeah.
But this woman is so stupid, she's making them look all right by comparison, and that's not on.
That's impressive. Though. What did you say her name was?
Carolyn Goodman. Okay. So if you're watching, hello, Carolyn. You are an idiot.
I don't think she's a good man.
You don't think she's a what?
Goodman.
Oh, right, okay.
I think she's a bad man.
Excellent puns.
Or a stupid man. Carolyn Stupidman. Anyway.
See what I have to...
Oh, you love it.
I do love it.
You do love it.
I love you. But,
love you too, love.
So, but also, the guy who was interviewing her, and I can't remember his name, I'm afraid, but if you're in America, you'd probably know it, but if you're in the UK, it probably means nothing to you, so fine. But anyway, he said, well, how do you feel... Because with Las Vegas being in the middle of a desert, obviously in Nevada they have to air condition a lot of their buildings a lot of the time. And he said, well, how do you feel about the Chinese scientists saying that COVID-19 can be spread through air conditioning?
Yeah.
And she said, well, that's China. This is Las Vegas, Nevada. As if there was any...
basically saying it's Chinese, therefore I don't believe it. Yeah, that's just a nice bit of casual racism.
Either saying she doesn't believe it, or just saying, well, that might be the case in China. But I think
air conditioning over here is entirely different.
I think you find that here in America we're made of sterner stuff,
Yeah.
and it's one of the most stupid things. It's almost feeds into that thing of Boris Johnson. People saying, "Oh, he was a fighter," and implying that if you die of COVID-19, you're in some way not enough of a fighter. And it's part of that jingoistic kind of national pride thing of like, well, we're America or we're Britain, we're tough. Like it's not a thing, guys. It's just a disease that kills people arbitrarily.
It feels like our government did have a little bit of a, it won't be so bad here. But based on nothing. Because one of the arguments, which was sort of a fair argument, was early on we could have very easily bought ourselves time, and we are an island, and we could isolate and reduce it could have technically been very good about it not getting here if they'd closed ports and airports and or at least had very strict screening and quarantine measures on people coming in. But the airports are still open now. And they're not testing people who land from wherever, so we're not doing any better. We're not better. What are you laughing at? That
It's because I'll give you a peek behind the curtain of how this vlog gets made. Ellie likes to make some notes of topics that she wants to remember to cover.
Because I am a professional.
And I, because I am not a professional, instead of listening to Ellie, looked down at the notes and noticed that she had made a note of something that I called her before the vlog started this evening. Something I called her earlier this evening. Do you want to tell people what I called you?
I will tell people. Apparently, you were sort of quoting somebody as referring to something I had said on this blog, and you used the phrase, he said, your missus had said something about it on here. To which I said, I'm not entirely happy about being referred to as your missus, but I'm glad he pays attention. And then you sort of like, oh, you are my missus. I'm not Mrs. Chopping, therefore I'm not your missus. And you said the phrase, no, but you're my common law lockdown wife, aren't you?
Yeah, I think that's...
Common law lockdown wife.
Common law lockdown wife.
How romantic, be still my heart. That does not count as marriage.
I'll be your common law lockdown husband as well.
Put a ring on it. We'll have a little crappy video wedding.
Hang on.
But
hang on. We got some sort of...
That is not a ring. That is
a bit of plastic off the wine box. What could be more appropriate for you?
That's not even the right finger. He's not prepared for this. Look at this.
I'm sorry that this is not my second common law marriage. I'm sorry that I've been saving myself for you all these years. To be fair,
a wine box ring is quite apt, but I like to think that I will get something slightly better than that.
Yeah, you'll be lucky.
I will be. It's not going to happen, is it? We're going to be stuck in lockdown forever. I was already bemoaning the fact that my birthday is probably going to be a bit of a non-event, isn't it?
Yeah. When is your birthday?
June, so we've got a while.
Yeah. Good to know.
June 15th. He won't remember. He doesn't remember his own mother's birthday, and his own mother's birthday is on the same day as his birthday.
That happened one time.
She phoned him up to wish him happy birthday, and he just had a, thanks, yeah, lovely, chat. And then his dad sent him a message being like, did you forget to say something? And he went,
I did. That wasn't a story for public consumption.
Well, it is now.
Not least because it might remind my parents it happened. I'm hoping they've forgotten it.
He is suitably shamefaced, though. Because, yes, I've taken down all of the birthdays of your close family, so hopefully I will remind you.
Yes, we are splitting the task between us equally. Ellie has to remember the birthdays, and I have to complete Bastion for Nintendo Switch. Yes, we are dividing the tasks.
Well, I'm a bit annoyed that I've said, because that's a stereotypical woman task, isn't it? Like, dealing with the birthdays and things. And to be honest, I'm a bit crap at remembering birthdays myself, but I just use a calendar on my phone so it reminds me.
I do not use calendars on my phone because I think calendars on my phone are the devil's work. I think they are witchcraft and I do not trust them.
So you use a paper diary.
Yes.
So then on the day you turn to it and it goes, Dad's birthday, and you go, fuck.
If I've written it down.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I'm a bit annoyed because that is a stereotypical thing, but I don't think you're being a stereotypical man about that. I just think...
I'm being inept in my own way, but it's not gender specific.
Yeah, fair. That's fair, and I'm glad.
Thank you. We're rapidly running out of time. I feel like we should cover the panel show. Is that fair?
That is absolutely fair, although I am very curious about toothpaste. But maybe panel show...
We'll have to push toothpaste till tomorrow, guys.
Oh, wow. I don't know how big a story it is.
Well,
He's being very mysterious about
underwhelming.
Toothpaste.
So don't look forward to that, guys. Lower your expectations. But tonight, before we recorded this, I recorded something else.
Yes.
I was on a panel show.
Which we mentioned last week, but last week we had a bit of a tech fail, which meant that you weren't in it.
I was a bit gutted not to be in it, because also it was on a panel show, so it's streamed live on Facebook, and people could watch and comment and join in, but also... You
can also watch it after it goes out. You don't have to watch it.
Yes, it's still available to watch on Facebook now, so do check it out. It was...
it's called Forza Crowd.
Forza Crowd is the name of it, and it's produced by Joke Pit Comedy, so if you look up either of those things, you should be able to find it, and it should also, I will share it on my comedian page if I haven't already.
I will put the link in the blurb for this as well.
And you know what? Why not like my comedian page while you're at it? Why not go there and click like? That felt a bit
passive aggressive.
Well, click like and just be a part of it.
Yeah, come on, guys. We could do with the likes and shares,
click
so
like
it doesn't cost you anything.
Now you're a part of it. Click like and I'm claiming this song back. Fuck Jimmy Savile. The theme tune was good, and I'm claiming it back for everyone. La 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 la, no.
We've had this conversation before.
I think we can claim it back.
He keeps singing the theme tune around the house, and then I keep saying that's not okay.
Jim'll Savile.
Yeah,
Jim'll Savile was a bad man.
Yes.
That is undisputed, but there was a whole production team that went into that show. The guy that wrote the theme tune didn't know.
No.
And I think theme tune, it was catchy, and we should claim it back.
It's not even that good.
It was really good. So Anyway, the panel show exists and you should watch it. It's funnier than I'm being on this. But no, I mean, it's a learning curve, isn't it? So it'll probably get even slicker as we go along week by week. We'll be doing it every Thursday at 9. So do tune in and do catch up if you missed these ones and check it out.
Yeah, really worth a watch. I enjoyed them.
I have to say, it's a lot of fun for me to do because it's a good opportunity to just interact with other people in the real world. Like, I know a lot of people have been doing like Zoom conversations with their friends and things, but as a comedian, it literally doesn't occur to me to do that because my entire social life is turning up at gigs and seeing comedians at those gigs, and that is how I socialise in the world. I don't know how to socialise properly anymore since I've been doing comedy for a decade.
Do I need to remind you to do that as well? Okay.
Excuse me. Yes, you do. So
do I also need to remind you to stop burping in my face?
Yes, you do. I can't do a Zoom chat with anyone without someone going, "Hey, do you want to come and do a panel show?" And go, "Oh, it's organised comedy socialising. Okay, this I know how to do." So it's very nice to see people and talk and interact with them.
But it is good fun and worth a watch.
In a structured format.
Yeah, and yeah, some good questions on there. Yeah, quite left field. Didn't know the answers. Enjoyed finding out. So yeah, I would strongly recommend it,
guys. And I have none of the details on this. Apparently, there's an asbestos-powered super spider at large in Cardiff.
I have so many questions about this.
That was like a true or false question, and they said it was true, and they didn't provide any further answers. So do spider-proof your homes, guys.
And asbestos-proof them?
Yeah, well...
What do they mean, asbestos-powered? We're running out of time, so this is just going to have to be...
I was already worried that Harriet across the road was going to get some spiders, but now I know that they can be asbestos-super-powered, and I know they're plotting against us. We all know this. Spiders are wrong.
I'm the spider catcher and releaser in our house. No shame.
While I sort of do chanting and
I'm just telling you that
exercise them. Yeah, exercise the evil spirits. All right.
All right. So more about asbestos-powered spiders tomorrow and toothpaste. Some mysterious thing that he wants to talk about with toothpaste. No idea. Maybe he's started brushing his teeth.
And washing my pants.
Bye, guys.
Bye.